Today can be the turning point in your life by making a simple decision.
Fundamental questions of navigation. Where am I? Where am I going? And how do I get there from here?
I invite the leaders of our planet to ask themselves these three questions before they make any crucial decisions.
But if you don't make decisions, you're going to stay right where you are.
We are all map makers.
We are in a time of transition.
If we're going to change, we have to change the direction that we're going.
Our planet needs leaders who know where they want to go.
When we change the direction we're going, then we want to make sure we're going in the right direction.
Leaders who can see the big picture.
Because if we're not, we're going to either go backwards or we're going to stay where we are.
Recognizing the psychological and the spiritual shifts and changes that need to be made, often from the inside to the outside.
To be able to shape your future, you have to be willing and able to change your paradigm.
Complex journeys require navigation. The path to the truth is one such journey. This is your GPS. Hairstyling services provided by J.D. Edwards Salon and Spa, Palmdale Shopping Plaza, Ladera Street. Accessories provided by Chevette Williamson Jewelry. Standout jewelry for standout women.
Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. I'm your host, Michelle Malcolm, and as always, it's a pleasure to be in your company today. Thank you so much for tuning in and making GPS a part of your afternoon routine. So on today's show, we are going to be covering a topic that I know my guest today absolutely loves. It's right up his alley. And the question we're asking on the show today is, when it comes to our bread and butter industries, namely tourism and financial services, are they still our lifeline or are they on life support? We are going to be looking at what is happening beyond the surface in both of those most important industries, or sectors, I should say, for those of us here in the Bahamas. So before we dive into the conversation, let's throw out the way that you can become a part of the conversation. The telephone numbers to call, 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272. The WhatsApp line for messages and calls is 801-0271, 801-0271. We are streaming live on Facebook, on the official Michelle Malcolm and Global 99.5 FM pages. You can also find us on our YouTube channel. You can catch us on Cable Bahamas channel 974, or by way of radio on the FM dial, it's 99.5 FM. And I want to say a huge welcome to all of you who are tuned in, no matter whether it's through radio or Facebook or YouTube. However you get here, I appreciate your presence. Thank you so much for tuning in and joining us for this important conversation. So let me bring my guest back into the studio. C. Alan Johnson is the guest today. And we're going to be talking about looking beyond the surface as it relates to our tourism and financial services sectors. Because depending on who you talk to, some people say we have reason to celebrate, especially with tourism and the increase in arrivals that we're seeing. Numbers look good, Seattle. Numbers look good.
Yes, what they say, statistics, more statistics, bottom lies.
Huh?
Statistics, more statistics, and damn lies.
Lord of mercy. Well, I could give you a chance to break this down because, people could say, man, see, Alan, you just ain't nothing but a pessimist because all these numbers that the Minister of Tourism putting out and they all look good and sound good. So where you coming with something else now? What's your problem? Why you can't ever see the good? Why you always got to be looking for the dark? Um,
Well,
so,
you know, I
so
met with a, I, you know something? I met with a group of investors yesterday who has interest in
okay.
Grand Bahama.
Hmm.
And they made a very important point concerning the various analysis that I've been submitting to them whenever they come into the island. One of the individuals says, was 28 years of investments. He've never seen someone who took paid so much of thorough attention to the quality of his analysis, the fact that it covered a SWOT, pastel, and other type environment. What he said is that not only do I give the the end result of what is anticipated, but I somehow seem every step of the way also to define the negatives and the trees that could come. When you say tree, that how you branch off away from it and how you get back on course. So if you encounter this, you may encounter this, but it's not a negative if you can look at it as I do the analysis, and this is how you get back to the goal of the end game that I have. And I never thought of it. I never thought of it like that. And he's an attorney and a major investor. But the point is that we've been sold marketing as leadership, as direction of economic development, and we could go back just for the last 25 years and look at every single statement. I don't want to sound thing, but look at every single economic forum that we have. And this is why even when we have these economic forums, yearly and otherwise, they don't publish them. As good as social media is, because if you go back, you'll find they're probably 80% wrong. They're just they're like they remind our people remind me of a blind man looking for the dime in the corner of a circle in a dark room that's painted black. In a circular room that's painted black. I mean, you're not gonna find it. So what happens is one thing when I speak, I want to bring truth. I'm a data analysis person. My credibility is more important to me than your opinion. And so I say to people, judge me by my predictive analysis as opposed to your envy. I don't even call them enemies anymore. I call them envies of mine. So, but what I'm saying is, I say to people is that no one loves my country more than me. But I don't love my country or my political affiliation more than my common sense, more than my sensibilities. And then it's another point that I was taught very young that goes around in my family. It says that if you don't if you don't understand enough of what a problem is, no, you must be able to argue for or against a problem, or it shows that you don't understand the other side of it. You only have a one-side analysis. So, but I'm also what people call a futurist in some respect. So what I do is I look at trends from a technology part from my over 40 years experience in the field to see where trends and anticipated bursts from an economic standpoint will happen. So I want people to understand that unlike the professionals, remember like when we had cryptocurrency, go on social media, there was about 1,700 professional Bahamians, crypto analysts and experts. You can't find them now. A few of them now are artificial intelligence experts. You know, so as soon as a new trend comes out, they become artificial intelligence expert. And so this concept called prompting is now the new field of expertise in the Bahamas. And I think if brain surgery was to become a global phenomenon, we will have a whole crop of brain surgeons.
See, Alan, you wicked bad. Okay, I'm going to play a clip with our Deputy Prime Minister, Chester Cooper, who also happens to be the Minister of Tourism, who recently unveiled what seems to me to be good news. The
Okay.
tourism numbers are up, arrivals are up. We're looking at, levels that are higher than from before the pandemic. I don't know why you got a problem. So let's play this clip, and then I need you to explain to me and our audience why you believe that it warrants looking deeper beyond what is being presented to us. So let's go ahead and play the clip first. Allow the minister to tell us all the good news about what is happening in our tourism industry, and then we can hear C. Alan Johnson analyze this good news. Check this out.
From January through July, we had more than 5.8 million visitor arrivals. We are pacing 59% ahead of 2022 and 30% ahead of 2019, which was our busiest year ever. Forward bookings continue to be very strong. We see no reason, barring an act of God, that we won't surpass 8 million visitors this year, which would be a record. In March alone, we had nearly 1 million visitors. So this should tell you about the pace at which this is all going. We've increased traffic from almost all of our source markets. All 16 island destinations are showing its strongest performance ever. Average daily room rates are up. Occupancy at hotels is up. And most importantly, tourism spending is up. Of our 5.8 total visitors, 5.8 million, that is, total visitors, more than 1.3 million came by air, whilst 4.76 million came by sea. So to put that into context, during the entirety of 2022, 1.4 visitors came by air and 5.5 came by sea. Further, at the end of August, we would have already surpassed arrivals of all prior years prior to 2018.
Good to me. Oh, I'm muted. Okay, that sounded really good to me. Really good.
I mean,
So,
it is.
What, huh?
Okay. It says that there's some caveats to what he said, right? And this is why we don't give full statistics. We give linguistic, contortionistic statements. Let's look at the air arrivals. I like to hear about the air arrivals, but we have to combine what he said then to what he said on other places at the same time concerning the number of room. He says that room rates are up, right? But in other places, he says the availabilities of room is down. But I mean like the numbers, okay? So the occupancy could be up separate from the room rates, meaning that our prices have increased, whether inflation or otherwise, or demand for the rooms. But then look at let's use an example. If you had 1,000 rooms at 80% occupancy, that means 800 of those rooms are occupied. But if you now go to drop to 900 rooms and claim 90% occupancy, it sounds very good between 80 and 90%. But technically, that's only 20 additional rooms that's occupied compared to the 80 to 90% because of the drop in rooms availability. This is the problem that when you don't give data and you read from a report, which is a extraction from data, and then say, our data says. Your data can say anything based on the question that you ask it and in the manner that you ask those questions. In a properly informed society, you would present the raw data and let individuals such like me that's into data analysis extract from that and let us sing your praises of your accomplishment. Let's talk about the sea arrivals. I want you to imagine that you have a large shopping center and you allow free Wi-Fi or whatever reason for people to come into the parking lot, but your profit come from people that comes into the mall, and then you begin to celebrate that you have a growth in people in the parking lot, but provides no evidence to support your growth in revenue of those people transitioning into the mall. That is what is absent. We have been talking with these massive numbers, record breaking. In fact, I'd put to you that when Carnival comes online in Grand Bahama, we're going to have instant $2 million, 2 million people jump in entering the Bahamas borders. But that doesn't mean that we'll have 200 million people impact on the economy. How many of those individuals leave the cruise ship? How many of those individuals that leave the cruise ship is going to leave the economic structure that is created by these cruise industries to capture those monies? We are counting people in those cruise ships that goes to MSC Island, with Coco Key, and all these other islands that never. These are private enclaves, but if they show up there with 4,000 people a day on their cruise ship, we will announce that we had what's it, 12 million people come to the Bahamas, and we would have not seen that impact directly, other than a few jobs. And this is where the distortion of our tourism numbers come from, and so we can't really do no economic planning in that respect. And so we have 1.3 million to 1.4 million, I guess that's true, for the whole of 2022. And so that means that we are not too far behind in achieving that. But the question then becomes, are those tourists spending longer time? Are they spending 1 week? Remember, the arrivals don't tell us the departures, which is a balance to say how long they stay. And that is where the impact is measured concerning their stay and their spend. We don't have these information or these type of conversations. And this is why we have a distorted economy where the economy is always growing, but the impact felt by Bahamians or their integration into the economy is not one that is felt on the ground. So it sounds like you're doing something, but in essence, the impact, the localized impact, the what do you call it, where it spools into the community, is not felt by Bahamians. We are, and I don't know if you have Mr. Gavin Bow conversation concerning financial service and tourism.
I do.
We
I
have,
do. I'm not
okay,
going to
I'm
play
just,
that
I'm not going
until
to go to
after that's break.
right. I'm saying, but let me just go back to tourism. We are dressing up this antiquated model. We are, we are about to approve RCI, I guess, on Paradise Island, the expansion of Coco Key with some things in the bed, and a whole lot of things that we are about to expand on. Those are not direct impact on the economy other than the individuals that's already working there. And you have individuals on some of those ships that even come off the ship and work on shores. These are the wider conversation. We have an adequate tourism model that is past its shelf life. We need a new 21st century model, inclusive, that actually include ownership. The Deputy Prime Minister talked about how we need thousands of room, and how these investors coming in and coming in and coming in to build more rooms. But they're building them in bulk. They're not ownerships, they're jobs. I see we have a call on the line, or first, or
Yeah, we have a call on the line. Let's go to the phone call. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Hi, thanks. Hi, Michelle. Hi, Evan. How you all doing?
hi, all right.
Great.
Good,
How
good.
are you?
Yeah, in reference to the tourism minister's report, I think it's a wonderful report, and you can actually see things that's been booming in this country. I'm happy for now, Brad Mahama. I have plenty question marks in reference to when is something going to happen over there, something big in reference to, especially, the tourism product. And I get your point, Seattle, and in reference to the numbers as far as us actually feeling the full impact of the numbers, because, like you said, you have the heads, but you need, as far as to actually feel the full effect of it, because the lady over Atlantis, I don't get a name, how about name right offhand? When you see persons like her and the president or whatever of Bahama, and they come and they brag and they say how much even the projected revenue they're gonna make in the coming months or whatever. It's good, and it's a good thing, right? Numbers don't lie. Okay. Now, the question I have for you, C. Allen, is what you say, what you speak about is it's good, and it would be wonderful if it ever happens. And I must give credit to the ministers of tourism, like Mr. Bilscombe, Diaglo, and this present minister of tourism, because I like the way former Minister Diaglo, with the transition between him and Minister Cooper, how that's been seamlessly. So I like that. But do you think, as far as we will ever see in our lifetime, the actual thing about which you speak in reference to Bahamian ownership, as where we have these investors come, right? And they come and they get the prime land, they get the prime, like the RCIs, the Bahamas, the Atlantis. You see these people, they come in here and we sit down and we go with, drafting of this heads of agreement, right? And because I think that's the key right there. When they sit down and they actually lay out and this heads of agreement, a lot of these things should be in place that would empower Bahamians to have a better, more valuable piece of the pie. Now, I'm asking you, when do you envision something like this ever happen? Because consecutive governments have
3 years.
allowed a lot of things to happen. Because I always, it bothers me just to see how we have Bahamians who are so qualified to do these jobs in these positions, but yet they're not given the opportunity to. And persons come here as a tourist today, and next week they're working in a management position. So the question for you, CL, is: do you think it's possible, and when do you envision or see it happening? Is it going to be our children's lifetime or our grandchildren's lifetime? And just give us please, if you have time, a little breakdown as to how that can happen. I'll hang up and listen. Thank you.
Okay, this show is absolutely for you. And if this administration doesn't do it, I guarantee you the next administration will. Because the education process that will happen between now and then, they will have no other option but to incorporate what is necessary. You're talking about, again, we always focus on the foreigner coming in and providing for us. And I understand what the last three tourism ministers have done, but they have ignored the reality. You remember when we had the first Airbnb in the world, and now it's a multi-billion. And when you look at the shoot off, it could be reaching the $1 trillion environment. When you look at the impact from hospitality and tourism on it, we used to call it people to people, and we let that die and continue with our model. We look to bringing in the mega vista tourism talk about bringing in these investors to build 1, 2, 3, 4, 5,000 rooms, hotels, and these resorts and these marinas. When technology now exists to allow Bahamians to have equitable access to the same resources that these mega giants have. In fact, it gives us as a crowd, meaning 1,000 of us, have more power than even 10 foreign investors. We talk about the DARE bill, the Digital Asset Registration Bill, where it basically makes room again to bring people inside of the country for ownership of the industry, but it makes no direction of giving external access to Bahamians for crypto. Crypto is not cryptocurrency. Don't confuse the two. Cryptocurrency is a subset of crypto. Cryptocurrency is a subset of crypto, from tokenization and other digitization of assets, to where Bahamians have access to the global market. There's very few of us, and this is why I say it will happen in the next 3 to 5 years. That because individuals like me, now that it's become mainstream, even though we've been talking about it for a decade, will make sure Bahamians understand that there is nothing but an illusionary barrier to you having access to the global market. And what I mean by that, if the government of the Bahamas does not make allocations for you from a legislative standpoint, legislation, policy, procedures, process, and programs, then you may have to digitally make yourself a foreigner, locate in a jurisdiction that allows you to do it. You could do it in the state of Florida for about $300, and then come back home as a foreigner, and then take the benefits as a Bahamian that gives you an advantage. It's that simple. Because what happens is their economic model is to protect the status quo and don't go beyond what is existing. So we've had previous ministers that have been wonderful caretakers of the industry, but foreigners has dictated how our tourism product is to grow. You've never heard a tourism strategy that expressed a Bahamian-centric position. You've always heard them talk about how wonderful it'll be when the foreigners come in. Have you heard a minister in the last 10, 15 years talk in the purest sense of not, we love the potential of Bahamian ownership, but the steps for which it can be achieved? No. Have you heard the Minister of Finance? No. And so essentially what they're doing is they're selling us feel-good anecdotal statements, but providing no structure for our actual participation in these economies. And the world exists today that gives young Bahamians, whether they know it or not, the ability of ownership through one of the things we can talk about, tokenization, and we talk about digitization of the economy, digitalization of the economy, and tokenization of the economy could literally make hundreds, if not thousands, of millionaires in the next 5 years. And I'm saying is that, yes, what I'm saying when I say within 3 to 5 years.
I don't want us to go down that road just yet, because we're over time for a break. So we definitely will discuss tokenization more later in the show. Okay. I don't want to jump ahead because I also want this show to not just look at tourism, but also the financial services sector as well. So let's take this break, and then we're going to continue on the other side of the break, talking about this whole question of whether or not financial services sector, like tourism, whether or not it is truly a lifeline for this country, or is it really on life support? And it really depends on who you talk to. So we're going to break this down. We're not telling you what to think or how to think. We're just giving you additional information to help you to make a more informed decision about what you think. So that's what we're doing today. So stay with us. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors. This is GPS.
Global Paradigm Shift will return after this.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, paints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, True Form, Western, Lux, Fuel, Trackline, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and low-profile tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
To stay healthy, it's crucial to make sure you get the nutrition you need every day. But it's difficult to get all your recommended vitamins and minerals from food alone. Even in the United States, 94% of people are deficient in at least one nutrient. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 by Longevity is a simple, convenient, and affordable way to help your body get the essential nutrients it needs. It's an advanced plant-driven multivitamin mineral complex that contains certified organic whole foods, trace minerals, and antioxidants. BTT 2.0 supports your body's natural defense system with a proprietary blend of energy-boosting and body-loving nutrients, plus prebiotics, probiotics, amino acids, and enzymes that support digestion. With an unusually high ORAC score of 8,000, you get even more antioxidants to help combat free radicals that can cause damage to your cells. But to get the most benefit and value from any multivitamin, your body must be able to break down the nutrients so you can fully absorb them. Otherwise, they'll just pass through your system without doing any good. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 was specially formulated with synergizing cofactors to ensure you get maximum nutrient absorption. Beyond Tangy Tangerine 2.0 is the easiest way to give your body the balance and complete daily vitamin mineral supplement it needs for optimal support of your overall health. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
This portion of GPS is brought to you by Tiki Bikini Hut at Junkanoo Beach. Great food, cool tropical drinks, and family fun in the sun.
GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm in your company, along with my guest, C. Alan Johnson. We're talking today about lifeline or life support. Looking at two of the bread and butter sectors in our country, namely tourism and financial services sector. And we're asking the question, are they doing really, really well, as some would have you believe, or is that just a facade? Do we need to be concerned? So before we get Alan back into the conversation, I want to give you some numbers that you can join in. The telephone numbers to call are 326-0271, 326-0271, 326-0272, 326-0272, and the WhatsApp line for messages and calls is 801-0271, 801-0271. We are streaming live on Facebook, on the official Michelle Malcolm Facebook and Global 99.5 FM pages. You can also check us out on our YouTube channels. And you can find us on Cable Bahamas Channel 974. And the telephone number is to call 326-0271, 326-0272. The WhatsApp number 801-0271, 801-0271. Download the Global 99.5 FM app to your smart device. Check us out there. Or last but not least, tune in by way of radio. Thank you to all of you who have done so, whether here in New Providence, Grand Bahama, the Family Islands, or anywhere outside the Bahamas. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Lifeline or life support, which is it? Depends on who you ask. We started off the show talking about tourism, and C. Alan is not impressed with the rosy review that our Minister of Tourism has presented about these fantastic numbers of tourism arrivals, and he broke it down as to why he thinks that we need to look a little deeper. Well, some are saying the same thing needs to be applied to our financial services sector. And in this clip, we're going to hear from banker Goan Bo, who recently appeared on Saturday News Report. I think they interviewed him about the health of our financial services sector and whether or not we need to be concerned. Here now is that clip.
Fidelity's Gowan Bowe has a measured assessment of the country's fiscal state. While he sees positive post-pandemic indicators in areas like tourism, where visitor arrivals are soaring, and once furloughed employees have returned to work. He's not as optimistic, though, about the once thriving financial services sector, which he says is now in critical shape. With jobs in that industry disappearing at an alarming rate, he worries that so too will the country's middle class.
We have one of two choices. Either we look at revolutionizing the financial services sector in order to maintain the level of employment, or we identify an alternate sector that can contribute towards that middle income, upper income earning capacity.
And while the government touts a dip in unemployment to the lowest rate it says in 15 years, Bowe says even these statistics must be carefully considered as well. He says, yes, unemployment has fallen, but so has the number of people working. But a healthy dose of optimism, he says, isn't a bad thing either.
It is a science of, or an art of sentiment, that if we have people feeling positive, they behave positively, and it has a positive impact.
And don't expect inflation to go anywhere anytime soon. Bowe says it'll be a while still before we fully recover from this economic downturn.
Given that we've had such a huge swing on inflation, we have such a huge swing taking place that may lead to recession, equilibrium in reality is probably 18 to 24 months away.
On the positive side, while economies across the globe have been at the mercy of their respective central banks setting high interest rates, Bowe says that's unlikely to happen here.
So if there is one peace of mind people can take place, I don't foresee the central bank looking at lifting interest rates because it doesn't have a need to do so to bring equilibrium. What is taking place in the U.S. is to bring equilibrium. The central bank, for all intents and purposes, has remained at an equilibrium state.
Bowe considers himself a pragmatist, so he doesn't discount any positive signs in our economic forecast. But again, he is a pragmatist, so he says that the only way that consumers can weather any economic storm is by practicing fiscal prudence.
Gowan is trying to sound an alarm. He believes, based on what I just heard in that clip, that our financial services sector is not the lifeline it once was, but now is on life support.
Well, he used his description. He says, I am a pragmatist. I evaluate theories or beliefs in terms of success in their practical application, not how you feel and what you think. Okay? He's saying right then and there, we could feel all we want, we could hope all we want, we could pray all we want. Application will be the determination of our success. I couldn't say it better. He said that, and I agree with him, that financial service and banking in the Bahamas is dead, except in the minds of those who have been imposed with the previous belief system. You're talking about a preeminent individual that is not working in the financial service industry. He employs people in this financial service industries. He's talking about the middle class because they are the ones that stimulate the economy by buying the cars, by buying the houses, by buying whatever it is that kind of boosts the level. We already went down from the thousands, from the multi-thousands of individual financial services to the low thousands in that particular area. Why? Because we have not allowed the humans to be integrated as owners in the financial services, except in a limited context of working within the walls to confine the pen. We are now in a dispensation where there are no borders except those that are imposed by the immigration. I'm talking about intellectual capital, I'm talking for business and otherwise. So what we have to do now is we have to rethink and redefine our position in the future. Let's go to OECD. A few years ago under the previous administration, the Secretary General, whatever his name is, the OECD, was asked a question. The Bahamas believes itself to be in a secrecy and no tax zone when we should be in a privacy and low tax. So we should go away. We should get away from this decades-old secrecy and no tax and take our constitutional position that's already in our constitution that we can have low tax and a privacy jurisdiction. In fact, we can have a constitutional privacy that individuals here we talk about. But we also have to open the gates for individuals to move into ownership of the financial services. And ownership of this financial services and access to the global marketplace will allow ownership in the tourism and ownership in other industries. When we start talking about digital entrepreneurships and otherwise, we can have individuals selling products they have nothing to do with to people they don't know for money they never had. That is what digital entrepreneurship allows. No more, let's open up another place to sell tennis or clothes or something to only Bahamians. If the entire Caribbean and South America is a consumer-based environment, then why can't we act as the middlemen and middlewomen to those marketplaces as opposed to continuously being consumer? We don't even need products to touch the basis here. And if we do, coming from other places, like remember, go in most every store in the US, clothing, tennis shoes, name brands, everything, you'll see a made in China, made in Korea, made in Japan model. Well, we are in a geopolitical location where all those things that we buy and then we import into the Bahamas must first pass through the Bahamas. So why aren't we considering places like Grand Bahama the ideal place to sell to the rest of the world? We can become middlemen, but we have to teach digital entrepreneurship. But better yet, we need leadership that understands it. You don't have to be able to do it, Go look at the leaders, the CEOs of all of the major 1,000 companies and tell me how many of them is actually out there doing the things that their company represent. They provide leadership and visions to those companies. But we have MPs who's paving roads, cleaning up garbage, painting houses, serving breakfast, and all these different things when they should be in the business of governing. This is why I say we have to make sure if this administration doesn't adjust by October 4th and listen to the individuals that understand these the new dispensations we are in, then we must begin to prepare to make sure that we select in the next 3 years one that does. Don't let them come tell us. I'm saying I'm going to work my best. I know I'll be working with my wife, who happens to be a Gen Z. Okay, I'm a boomer too. There's some millennials between us to make sure for her and my children that an environment exists for them not to just exist, but for them to thrive. And that's the conversation we must have. And so we'll get around to this conversation on how Bahamians get owned. Because understand the technology that Garvin Bow is talking about, because he could only be talking about technology. Nobody flies in no more to the Bahamas with the bags of money or the briefcase, and the drug money is gone. And I know we so used to smuggling liquor, alcohol, dope, piracy, whatever. Well, guess what, guys? Those eras are gone. And you know what? I always laugh. You ever say to me, listen to me, this Michelle, you like this? I says, all of those things are now done digitally, and the Bahamas is ill prepared to enter that market. Piracy is digital.
All of those things are what? Say that again.
All those things are now digital. And we're not prepared to be pirates anymore or to be bikers anymore. So, even the drugs are sold on the black market on the internet. And so we're so used to doing things in the physical world that we've been left behind. So this is the time for us to adjust. But there's some legitimate means for us to get financing. We're going to come to tokenization maybe by our next break. But there is so much opportunities that if we were to actually embrace who we are and who I and others have told you for decades, we could outshine Singapore, Norway, Estonia, and all those other places. We could have exponential growth. And I know this is the subject. This is the scary part. We could have 600,000 Bahamians and 10 million foreigners living amongst us and not be threatened. Our immigration policy, let me just make this point, is extremely garbage juice. Not garbage, it's garbage juice. That stuff to drain out of the truck behind your yard and smell for days afterward. Because we have no policy. For instance, individuals can come here from Japan or China by the thousands, and we have no limits on the amount of them. They can come from the south by the thousands. We have no limits to say we will only approve a certain amount of people from any particular country or region per year. And those individuals must have particular skill sets that is needed for the growth and the development of this country. No, we are selling citizenship. And no, I don't care how you dress it up, we're selling citizenship. And so until we have the conversation, the new immigration minister come with a real conversation and don't give us linguistic contortionistic conversation, we will find ourselves in the worst conditions because we are bringing in dependence on our economic system that is not growing. Look at this. Hey, I think in another interview, Mr. Bo said we have the lowest employment rate in the Bahamas, but we have the lowest number of people employed at the same time compared. So the question then becomes, where's these 30 or 40,000 people? Because again, you have statistics, more statistics than damn lies. Those statistic number of unemployment does not count disenfranchised workers. They don't count the thousands of people in Grand Bahama who don't even look because there's no jobs within their skill set. So because you have not looked for a job in the last 3 or 6 months, whatever the numbers is, you are no longer considered unemployed. But you sitting at home, you know you are unemployed. But statistics says we don't count you because you're not out there pounding for a payment for looking for what doesn't exist. And this is again what I said to you, we have to be honest in our conversation if we're going to move to a 21st century development. Let's be honest and open in the numbers so people can understand the reality of where we are and where we want to be. And I hope we come to Grand Bahama because, again, there will be no economic recovery, reboot, redevelopment of this economy unless Grand Bahama plays a front and central role in it. And we have the Grand Bahama Port Authority and the government in a pissing match, but we're not having a conversation concerning or with the people. And I'm hoping to voice out the gate. And I already kind of know that the government of the Bahamas is kind of spoofed about talking with the people. So if I was a port authority, I would tell them to be the voice out of the gate and engage the people and have a conversation because the complete intelligentsia needed for the development of Freeport. I'm talking to the port authority about Freeport, not Grand Bahama. It's not your responsibility. Talk to us about what's now, what's new, and what can be next. And I'm saying to the government of the
I
Bahamas,
want to touch on something you said. We're going to talk about Grand Bahama after the next break, right? But I want to touch on something that you said a moment ago. You were talking about how, if it's done right, that we could actually be, in terms of population, outnumbered, but still be very happy based on who we're being outnumbered by. I want to go deeper into that for a moment. Because when people hear about immigration in the Bahamas, there's only one place where their mind goes, right?
yes,
And that's
the South.
neighbors to the south of us, many of whom we know come here undocumented, you know, uh, we all know the story. We don't have to regurgitate that. We know the problems that we're having with immigration issues, particularly with persons from Haiti, okay? Other nations as well, but mostly from Haiti. Now, what you're saying is that there is a possibility where we as Bahamians can be outnumbered by persons from other countries, but not just anybody, but people who are actually building the Bahamas so that we are enjoying our best life. Now, I want to play a silent video. It's just a video, and we will have to explain for our radio audience what our Facebook and YouTube audience is seeing. Um, let's see if I can get it to come up. So this is
a picture.
before and after photo of Dubai. On the top, you see Dubai in 1981, what it looked like. And then on the bottom picture, you see Dubai, what it looks like today. Massive difference. Huge development. Well, guess what? There are more persons who are not from Dubai actually who make up Dubai as their home, their residence. But what they did was they were very strategic in who they allowed to call Dubai home. They didn't just open the floodgates. and say, we need more people, we need more people, we need more people without a plan. They clearly had a very specific plan as to the types of people they needed, the skill sets of the people that they needed to develop Dubai into what we see it is today.
Yes.
And so this is what you're talking about, Seattle, when you're talking about being outnumbered, but being happy with it because of the level of development and advancement that will bring to the Bahamas. Break that down to more
Yeah,
for
but
us,
let me
please.
just quickly do this quick so we can go to the break. Here's what happens if you go to Singapore, like we like to use. Singapore has about 6 million people, I think, but 2 million is citizens, 4 million is foreigners. What it is, there's an immigration policy that protects the sovereignty of the country as to the strict requirements for becoming citizens. You can come into the Bahamas, and we want you to come. We want you to come to live, work, study, play, visit, explore, invest, dine, shop, whatever it is that you want to do. But we are not going to treat citizenship as a gift like you could buy from the candy shop. So we put in, strict requirements on the process for citizenship concerning citizenry, contribution, and everything else. So let's use Grand Bahama as an example. Singapore, that we just talked about, is only 30 square miles larger than Freeport. I didn't say Grand Bahama. Singapore is only 30 square miles larger than Freeport. They have 6 million people, and we are better prepared infrastructurally than Singapore was when they began, digitally and otherwise. So I'm saying that in Grand Bahama alone, with a proper immigration policy, a proper vision for the country to which Freeport can be integrated, in fact, Grand Bahama as a whole, we can grow the critical mass of consumerism in this country for Bahamians to own apartments and apartment buildings, to own businesses, to own the major industries in the country as we grow. Because we're not going these things are not going to happen overnight. So as this economy grows from a strategic vision, Bahamians will be integrated into ownership, and that becomes so much easier, as we'll talk about later on in the show, with tokenization and other aspect of the digitization of this so-called financial services banking, as well as redefining the tourism product. We're just not having that conversation from leadership. And so I'm saying to you, if they knew, they would do it. I honestly believe, it scares me to believe that they know what I'm saying and they're refusing to do it, because that's even a scarier thought. I'm going to lean towards they don't know, so they're not doing it. So we have to make sure that this administration come to know it, or make sure that the next administration have amongst them people that understands and leadership amongst that team that understands that their job is legislation, policies, processes, programs, and procedures, and leave the building to the professionals and the repairs and cutting the lawns and digging the wells and painting houses and serving breakfast.
You really, really believe they don't know? You sound like Jesus on the cross. Father, forgive them, for they know not what they do.
No, because I know many of them. No, I know many of them. They're being taken advantage of. I know many of them. Because we can look at our past, right? They're 5-year celebrities. Like they're like TikTok fans. You just hit this burst of fans and whatever else, and then after a while your content gets stale, and then we bring in the new people. They are literally they're our form of social media. Okay, and they entertain us every time they get by standing in front of the cameras and talking to us. But there's a new Bahamian day. There's 60%, 65% of the next population will be born post 1981 in the next election. They have not had the leadership they deserve. They have not. Because we have had leadership that spent the entire time looking backwards as opposed to building forward. Grand Bahama is a good example of that. We could employ before the next term is up, and I don't want to sound like a political, but I am aggressively engaging the other half of my spokespeople in the House of Assembly to bring these ideas into the House of Assembly, because I'm not there, to simply at least deposit them on the table for discussions to see if they will be ignored. Because This government is seemingly, to me, locked and loaded in the direction they want to go. It's not about us anymore. And I challenge anyone, please, I'm talking about you fanatics and rabid supporters. I would like someone from the top, the top of the food chain, to challenge me on this, because your behavior, for those of us that understand, tells us otherwise. And I'm saying, as of today, we are going in the wrong direction. And instead of even for Grand Bahama, this the linchpin that Mr. Philip Brave Davis said was the linchpin for our economic development. Instead of throwing us sound bites, come and engage those of us who have studied this economy for 20 plus years, know what the possible models are, and have even challenged you in your previous incarnation of another 2 cabinets going backwards, when you was trying something else that we told you would fail, and it did. And now we're doing something else that we're saying to you is being executed improperly, and it is, and it will fail. And let me explain something. Instead of being negative, I'm screaming because I'm on this damn boat. And these people are digging, like poking holes in the boat. I'm saying, please, don't do that. There's other means for this boat to move. And with a pickaxe, there is some paddles. I'm saying, and the intelligentsia, not just in the Bahamas. I believe the thousands of individuals that has parked themselves offshore. Bahamians haven't left, Go anywhere in the world and you'll see a Bahamian and you'll be craving home. They have been forced to park themselves offshore. And I believe if we create the environment, and Grand Bahama is it, they will come home in droves. And it only requires, we don't require the politicians to do it. We require legislation. There's about 30 laws that needs to be created or updated for a 21st century the Bahamas. And we just need to create the environment for them to come home and thrive, as opposed to being competed against in a foreign country. And I'm saying, I challenge the leadership. Let's have these type of conversations, not in your isolation. And I challenge the media. Stop going to the same people you asked for the last 20 years, what do they think? I want you to start asking them, what do you know?
Wow. All righty then. Um, we are going to take a break. We're at the halfway mark. On the other side of the break, we're going to take a closer look at Grand Bahama. You all know Cialan been singing this Grand Bahama song for a little while now. But I do believe it warrants a closer look because, as he often says, it's prime, ready to be the catalyst that can take the Bahamas into the future. And trust me, we need to find a way to go there because the rest of the world is sitting back waiting for us. And if we don't find ourselves moving in at least close proximity to where the rest of the world is going as it relates to technology and advancing one society, we can wake up one day and we'll be so far behind we wouldn't even be able to see them in the distance. And there may be a handful of Bahamians who will have options and could jump on a plane and pack up the Georgie bundle and enjoy life elsewhere. But the majority of Bahamians ain't got no place else to go. This is it. So we have to find a way to make sure that we at least keep the race close. Even if you don't win the race, at least stay close enough.
But
if we allow these people to laugh us 3 and 4 and 5 times, dog eat our lunch and dinner and breakfast the next day. This is not a good thing. So we're going to take a break. When we come back, we're going to hear from Cialan yet again about why we are missing an opportunity as it relates to the role that Grand Bahama should be playing in this new Bahamas. Stay with us. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors. This is GPS.
Global Paradigm Shift will return after this.
Your body's immune system is under constant pressure from things like stress, lack of exercise, and toxins in the environment. It's crucial to be proactive and support your immune system with the nutrients it needs to function effectively. But it's often hard to get these nutrients from food alone. Introducing fast-acting Zinc Plus Immune Support by Longevity. Unlike zinc-only supplements, Zinc Plus Immune Support builds on the proven power of zinc and adds complementary nutrients to give your immune system extra support. Vitamin D helps balance the effects of zinc, while our proprietary blend of natural fruit and root extracts provides the extra help your immune system needs to work against daily stressors. And we've included Longevity's exclusive plant-derived minerals to give your body the minerals it needs but can't get from food alone. And because Zinc Plus Immune Support is delivered in a great-tasting sugar-free berry-flavored lozenge, it encourages quicker absorption of all these nutrients into your body. Zinc Plus Immune Support. Zinc plus the extra support your body needs to promote a healthy immune system. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
Welcome to Sunshine Auto, the hardest place on the planet for rims, tints, and tires.
We are your auto superstore for rims, Lexani, Azaras, Trueform, Western, Lux, Fuel, Tracklight, Tough, Rough Racing, Velocity, Mud, All-Terrain, and Low-Profile Tires. Cars, homes, and commercial window tinting. At Sunshine Auto, we put God first and customer is king.
Blessed love.
It's gotten harder and harder to get your daily requirement of vital nutrients from food alone. Without additional vitamin and nutrient support, your health and well-being can suffer drastically. That's why Z-Radical was specifically formulated. It combines a blend of antioxidant-rich vitamins, minerals, and botanicals with the protective powers of fucoidan to help fill the gaps from lack of nutrients in your foods. The core of Z-Radical is fucoidan, a naturally occurring polysaccharide that helps stimulate immune reaction, protecting you against inflammation and oxidative stress. We harvest this powerful mineral-rich nutrient from brown seaweed, harvested only from the world's most pristine ocean waters to ensure the purest quality. It's then extracted using cold process technology to ensure maximum levels of bioavailability. Then we add essential vitamins that help to protect your cardiovascular and nervous systems and are crucial for optimal immune and neurological function. Z-Radical also includes a proprietary blend of delicious antioxidant-rich fruits and berries. This great-tasting combination helps your body combat free radical imbalances that can contribute to a variety of degenerative conditions like arthritis and heart disease. Z-Radical. Experience the power of fucoidan with antioxidant-rich berries, 8 essential vitamins, and more to provide you with potent health benefits. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here with my guest, C. Alan Johnson. We're talking lifeline or life support. Which is it when it comes to our tourism and financial services sectors? Do we need to be concerned about these traditional bread and butter sectors as to the health of both of them? And, if you listen to our politicians, they'll say all is well. But others are saying not so much. So how do you get to be a part of this conversation? Well, that's simple enough. The telephone numbers to call are 3260271, 3260271, 3260272, 3260272, and the WhatsApp line for messages and calls is 801-0271. 801-0271. We are streaming live on Facebook on the official Michelle Malcolm and Global 99.5 FM pages, also streaming live on our YouTube channel. And you can find us on Cable Bahamas channel 974. You can also download the Global 99.5 FM app to your smart device and check us out there. And of course, huge welcome to all of you who are tuned in by way of radio. Welcome, welcome, welcome to the show. And thank you so much for tuning in, whether it's from within the Commonwealth of the Bahamas or outside of the country. A huge welcome and thank you for being a part of the show. So I'm a huge track and field fan. And matter of fact, back in the day when I was in high school, I was actually an athlete, and my specialty races were the 400 and the 800. And sometimes you look at these races, especially the long distance races, right? Everybody starts on the same line. Okay, everybody starts same line, but yet depending on the athlete and how well they prepared for the race, and in some cases their natural ability that they were born with, especially in the long distance races, at some point they can start lapping people. Those of you who are not familiar with sports terminology, when you get lapped, that means that all y'all start the race at the same time, same line, but other people were so much better and so much faster that they get all the way around the track, catch you up, and pass you while you struggling. They done pass you sometimes one lap, two lap, you get lapped. And the question is, were you in the wrong race? Did you not know you was going to have to run this distance?
Or ill prepared.
Did you simply not prepare to run the distance? Or are you just not even supposed to be on the track? Because how it is that y'all all start on the same line, but they lapping you 2 and 3 times, I dare say that perhaps you shouldn't even be in that race. Now, what does that have to do with what we're talking about today? See, Alan, I would like to say we're in danger of getting lapped, but I think we don't get lapped a couple times.
Yes, but here's the thing.
And the question is, yeah, go ahead.
I want to use the cruise ship like we like to use, right? The cruise ship has a top speed, and even though we were parked in the harbor, because we are small, agile boat with some powerful engines, we could make up ground and get to the destination before that bigger ships do. And that's what gives us the advantage. The problem is it requires us to do the first thing. You know what it is? To get in the boat and head in that direction.
What is it? Say it again.
We need to get in the boat and head in the direction we want to go. We could talk about all the logistics about what we could have, should have, might have done. And I'm saying from this point on, we need to simply just do it. Do the Nike slogan. Just do it. No more talking. Let's put the most capable persons in the control of the engine or on the steering or whatever else. You know why? We're all in the same boat and we will get to the destination together. So success will be shared. This is not about individuals. This is about a country. And until we stop...
We have a cell phone call on the line. Caller, welcome to the show.
What up, Michelle?
Hello.
Hello.
Hi.
And your guest?
Hi, how you doing?
Everything blessed. Michelle, what this man talking about, why they don't have this man in position to push this country where it need to be. Because if you listen to the two tongues, I believe parties in this to run an agenda, and I believe they run by people with money. Because whenever you even see time for election or when they talking, they always pushing some stupid agenda. Look at that boat cruise within your town, Michelle, Nassau. I listen to them white people talking about they can do this to the harbor, do this to the harbor. The harbor finish what they do. They put a fence to block off your people. Better vision, this and that. If you look in Freeport, land getting grabbed by foreigners and they trying to fence that off. Now, if you're listening to your guest, he talking about digital, you never ever hear no politician. Why do we try to bury the future, which is this man, and try to keep with the past? That's why you could show a picture of Dubai. We both started off the same time. We ain't get lapped. That ain't what you call get lapped. We get looped. You feel what I'm saying? It's like day and night. Freeport over here. Let's talk about it. He from Freeport, I from Freeport. I might be in Georgia right now, but I'm from Freeport. So that's from one Freeport to the next. So, Michelle, I bypassing you. Just going straight to your guest. Who have all of the jobs in the shipyard? If you look on the side of me, every time one set of people come in, one set of people go, so they get replaced by all type of funny people in Freeport. Who buying up most all of the properties in Freeport? You walk in Solomon's today, ask for a manager, right? When I came down and I was working in Solomon, every executive in Solomon's, white. You might not want, and I ain't saying no allegedly. Every executive in Solomon's, white. Walk in Sawyers. You got a Chinese who managing the store. You got an Indian, what is the assistant manager. Freeport ain't in no trouble. We inside Ukraine and Russia war. That's what you call Freeport. And you get now the little bit of jobs which you trying to fight for, the little bit of jobs that you fighting for. If you was a mason, a tileman, a roofman, or a window or whatever, you got to fight against the other set of people down south. Because what they doing is they dropping the price now. So you got to understand where we at and where we feeling. And then when you listening to a prime minister, I listen to him on the world market, telling them, okay, he hires scientists to do this and that. But then when I listen to him in the house, he asking, "What? Come on, man, we ain't stupid. I and my parents." You feel what I'm saying? And I talking to a Freeport guy. Why they having this man? I'm just trying to say to Rotowe to come to your show to spit facts. You catch what I'm trying to say? And what country in my house, if my brother come visit me, how he can tell me how to run my phone? You want me to tear his head off it? So why are we talking this, why this back and forward with the Port Authority? Why the government having this back and forward with the Port Authority? You understand? You making me feel like you playing the game. You say what you have to say or tell them, pop, put the military there. They can't operate. What they can do? What they can do? That's what I'm trying to say. There's people lives we're playing with and we watching. See, what plenty people don't get? Each island to each his own. I only could speak on Freeport where my neighbor's string tied. That's why I say from one Freeport. He know exactly, the man with the vision in Freeport, what on the side of you, know exactly what's going on in this place. You understand? Freeport ain't close to mash up. Freeport mash up. And you know why people leave it? You could go to a job today in Freeport. They tell you, I don't care what paper, like the papers what I have, run me back to Georgia. No matter what you say, you overqualified if you come with papers. If you don't come with papers, they pay you what you want, and then here's the struggle. The man would come in to challenge you, he don't care what he get. He don't care what he get. So whatever you trying to bargain with, you can't even bargain with that no more. And I talking to the man who on the side of you from Freeport. He know that's why we leaving. And when you come in now, you look at the whole scenario between the halves and not. You walk around in Freeport, all you seeing is private property. You understand what I'm trying to say? They fencing off. You can who you fencing off from? I listening to this man telling me he talking my language. Digital this. Why I can't walk in Freeport, go to a government, here's my idea. We have no back-end. Small businesses drive every country in the world. Everybody knows that. But then you want to make it hard for me. And again, I say, let's look at when white people want something from here. They come to the table, they push a bunch of microphone in their face, they do the setting, the background with little nice occupy water behind them and all that bull, whatever. And then the white man says, oh, hey, we're going to create 20 jobs. And this and then they take 20 billion land from you and they sit up, then they caught you off. And then check them out the next 5 years, they friends, uncles, aunties, all of them inside this one little area, but you can't get in. And the government sit back and watch this happen. I listening to this man on the side of you. Why can't I invest in Freeport? My idea should be, if you sit down as a shark to me and I come to you with a good idea, why you can't invest in me? And then let me pick up my homeboy who in the back of me and say, hey, look here, I just get this. That's somebody who off the street who is terrorizing you. Y'all don't understand how the trickle down go. And this a real man talking from Freeport. He know exactly what's going on in Freeport. And if he have the answer, grab this man, put him where he's supposed to be in the right area. I ain't here to talk about no Candy Roses, who was in Parliament for 30 billion years, and the place still. I ain't here to groom nobody back, and I never trust nobody who's shorter than me, Prime Minister. I leave on that.
Short people ego. short man ego.
Then.
But Michelle, let me just address some of the issues.
Boise Allen, you got a fun.
Yes, let me just some of the issues. He made some powerful points concerning a rising tide builds all boat. With all due respect, for those that know what Freeport is a tired, dying place. But the thing about it is, Freeport is more so being killed by ineffective policies, legislation, grab back of power, etc. I want people to understand the Hawks Creek Agreement was the fifth free trade zone in the world, but it was the most comprehensive at its time, and still today is the standard for the couple thousand that exist today. Freeport Hawks Creek Agreement is that standard. No one seemingly for the last 25 years at least has known it. I would put that even before then, we began in a coast position. Let me just give you the reality of Freeport. Freeport was so advanced built that in the 50 or 60 years, the roads have not been done. I hear Mr. Minister Mitchell referring to this. How many times you guys have paved the road in the last decade? Okay, that's how advanced it was built. The infrastructure was put in place. When I hear people talk about developing other islands, you have to go spend decades preparing for the infrastructure that's already in place for Freeport, just simply need upgrading. We have had buildings and things. Freeport is a decay. We have to voice. It says this: you can't manage what you cannot measure, and you cannot measure what you refuse to acknowledge or unaware of. And so we must admit where Freeport is and begin to look at who has the potential, who has the best vision for driving it further. When he talks about building, about the foreigners coming in, why is it? Because we have no vision. And I'll put in, there is no vision. I'm talking about in the Port Authority. You could displace the owners, because understand the owners hired people. And if they are the ones who hired the people, then maybe it's time for them to replace the people. There is no vision in the Port Authority, and I've not heard any expressed in the last 20 years of me being home. I have not. And I challenge them to publish whatever vision or replay or post to their page. I could say the same thing for government. There is no vision for Grand Bahama. What you have is a power grab, manipulation, and promises and whatever being done. That does not remove the value of Freeport. It does not negate the potential then or the potential now. What we are missing in the country and in Freeport, which represents Grand Bahama whole, is leadership with vision. So when you start talking about this vision, why is it that we have this company, 25 years of being in the Bahamas, and we don't have a strategy, a plan for skill set development, for even putting up scaffolding, which some of these individuals do, so that you could actually set an immigration policy that does not allow individuals to come into the country when you could have verified skill sets in the exact same discipline. There is no such thing as being overqualified. If you are willing to take the job, the argument is you are now being underpaid. Let me repeat that. We need to stop it. There's no such thing as being overqualified, but there could be a possibility of individuals who are willing to be underpaid for their skill set. So if we have a vision for Freeport, we have a national policy that allow the 1 million people or 500,000 people that Freeport was designed for 60 years ago. That was based on the technology and infrastructure then. We can do a new whole load build out of Freeport because we're not starting from scratch. We are improving on what exists. Geolocation cannot be beat. I hear people talk about Andres and whatever. Imagine that you're now talking about global warming and you have the most pristine environment, and you can't answer the simple question: what happens to the millions of tons? And this goes to the Prime Minister with his green, blue, orange, aquamarine, ocean, carbon, and climate economies. What happened to the hundreds of thousands of gallons of oil that we import to the Bahamas and nobody knows where to go? Is the cars like drinking them? Are we drinking them? What about the cooking oil? What about the antifreeze? What about the tires? What about all of these chemicals that we're importing to the Bahamas? Are we talking about this green freeze? So now you want to take what we have done across the Bahamas and these other Grand Bahama and New Providence and then go to the most pristine place on earth called Andres and say you're going to development? You can't fix, you can't. So, but when we talk about Grand Bahama, if we get leadership and a conversation, the Hawksbill Creek Agreement today is still the most pristine agreement. In fact, I am an advocate that we should have a conversation since the government wants to start this. Let's have a conversation on what the Hawksbill Creek Agreement was, what it is, and what it can be. Because I'm one to believe that the Hawksbill Creek Agreement can be modified today, and we should use a nice catchy phrase called 2099. So meaning that we would extend very specific agreements for the economic development and empowerment of the Bahamas by virtue of the Hawksbill Creek Agreement. We need to have that conversation. When they talk about taking away from the Port Authority, we already gave ownership. The Port Authority own what, 250 square miles or what? I don't know what the figures are. They own this. The Constitution protects the owners of the Port Authority from expiration or whatever they call legal word is, of taking their assets without equitable compensation. Our government is already going down a very tricky road that scares me. I support what they're saying in principle, but the actions for being unaware scares me because the liability that could happen from a mistake and misstep in this could be devastating to our treasury. And we're not having that conversation. We're not having about the pros and the cons and this or that. And we have what we have in the Freeport and around the Bahamas is midgets with megaphones that's just drowning out the intelligent conversation as to what we need as a country for economic development. But we seem as a people to thrive on theatrics, where we go every 5 years, take out these clowns and bring in the new clowns because the circus must continue. But we must adjust. And I repeat, there will be, let me repeat what Prime Minister Pereglason Christie, Prime Minister Hubert Ingram, Prime Minister Hubert Minnis, and Mr. Prime Minister Davis said going back to 2002. There will be no economic development without Grand Bahama playing front and center. So my question then is, where's the vision for Grand Bahama? Let me one more point. The Port Authority.
Wait, we got a caller on the line. We got a caller on the line. I don't want to lose the caller. Caller, welcome to GPS.
And then dial your operator.
I'm sorry. I apologize, caller. Call right back. Just let me say this. The Port Authority is subject to the government legislation, policy, procedures, processes, whatever of the country. If the government of the Bahamas was to lay out a clear vision supported by a policy, of course, that would require intelligent, honest, open conversation with the individuals who's involved. First of all, let's take for the Port Authority. The Port Authority is not some not agreement between government and the owners of the Port Authority. The Port Authority is a trust. That means the Hawksbill Creek Agreement is a trust between the Grand Bahama Port Authority, the licensees, and I put in there quasi-licensees, landowners of Freeport, and the citizens of the entire Bahamas. Let me now add to that. Governance without consent of the governed is the definition of slavery. And I want the Prime Minister today to say, we don't have slavery in the Bahamas anymore.
The caller's back. Caller, welcome to GPS.
Hey, good afternoon. To you and your guest.
Caller, you there?
Good afternoon to you and your guest. Your last caller.
Good afternoon.
Your last caller, the one from Georgia, from Grand Bahama, I think that boy deserved the Nobel Peace Prize for his contribution today. I think he was 100% on point. You know, at Sea Island, I think one of the issues in Grand Bahama, I think why Grand Bahama hasn't prospered yet, because we haven't had a prime minister or a leader who understands Grand Bahama and who understands the Hawksbill Creek Agreement. You know, let's look at it this way. The digital infrastructure of the side of the world runs through Grand Bahama. One of the largest oil terminals on this side of the hemisphere is in Grand Bahama. You have one of the largest container shipping facilities. We are the gateway to America. So why is Grand Bahama in the position it's in right now? Why aren't we utilizing the infrastructure? You understand what I'm saying?
Are you saying we need a prime minister from Grand Bahama?
I think we need someone, we need a prime minister from Grand Bahama who understands Grand Bahama and someone who understands the Hawkesbury Creek Agreement. I don't think none of our former prime ministers the current prime minister, I don't think he even ever read the Hawkesbury Creek Agreement. I don't even think Fred Mitchell even seen the Hawkesbury Creek Agreement. Because if he did, the foolishness would he run already, he wouldn't have been saying. How can you ask the citizens of Grand Bahama not to get involved in the dispute between the Port Authority and the port and the government? When the licensees is the third party involved in the Hawkesbury Creek Agreement, you cannot make an agreement without the licensees. The government can't do nothing. The Port Authority can't do nothing without the licensees.
And that's the definition of slavery. They're saying that we want to make a slave. Governance without consent of the government is the definition of slavery. And you absolutely are correct.
And I honestly believe until we have a prime minister from Grand Bahama, someone who understands Grand Bahama, someone who understands the model, because Grand Bahama is the future for the Bahamas. If we could get Grand Bahama take off, if we could utilize that container port, we got two of the Buckeye Oil Terminal, Start Oil Terminal. That's the gateway to the world.
And the technology.
You know, you got 2-3 million barrels of oil that leaves Buckeye that goes to Singapore every month. You got 1.5 million of barrels every other month that goes to India. So why are we not in trade with these companies? With these countries, sorry. And until we utilize Grand Bahama and its infrastructure, we can always be in the position we're in. We can always be treated like second-class citizens and like slaves. The Grand Bahama is saying can never be empowered because we're not empowering ourselves. You know, let me give you an example, right? You got people in Grand Bahama, and in particular in the oil industry. You got certified, qualified people, but still yet the government still issuing work permit for foreigners to come govern the oil industry. When you got certified, qualified people who can work, who could and have worked throughout the world in oil terminals, oil industries, but still yet the government still issuing work permits for foreigners. And not just this current administration, the past administration. So I'll hang up and I'll continue to listen.
Okay, Michelle, let's go to our break. But let me just say one thing. The Haywood family, if you hear this, I'm not mocking you. A meeting I attended, the last meeting I attended with Sir Jack Haywood, after he had just left cabinet, a public meeting with licensees and the public, and this is his statement. He says, I've just attended the cabinet meeting, and I've met with a whole group of people who and this is on my page, have never even read the Hawkesbury Creek Agreement. I think there's one chapter in there, I think his name is Halakias or something of that sort. He's talking about Halakias. I think he has some familiarity with the document, but I don't think he knows enough to make a decision. This was Sir Jack Haywood, the 50% owner or whatever amount he is of the Port Authority under the last PLP administration, said, I've met with cabinet and they are clueless as to what the Hawkesbury Creek Agreement is. And this was made in a public forum, and not a single person contested that, including current ministers who now sit today. And so it tells you that we truly need to have this conversation.
That is not good at all. That is quite concerning, actually. All right, we're going to take a break. On the other side of the break, we're going to talk about what could be the solution to all of this. And obviously, we have to talk about technology being in the mix as it relates to the solution for how do we ensure that we are not on a life support device, but that we truly have an economy that serves as the lifeline for our people, embracing the future, which is actually the present. It's not coming, it's already here. But we are in danger of being so far left behind that if we don't wake up now and start making some moves towards getting into this race, we're going to find ourselves out of the race altogether. And that is really not an option. So stay with us. We'll be back after these words from our sponsors. This is GPS.
Global Paradigm Shift will return after this.
At Lee Air, safety is our #1 priority. Flying since 1996, we offer scheduled flights into Fresh Creek and Mangrove Key Andros and Great Harbor Key, Berry Island, twice daily, 7 days a week. Affordable charter services are also available to anywhere in the Bahamas and the Caribbean. Lee Air Charter Services. Call 225-3267, 702-7127, or 322-1317 for reservations.
Understanding your microbiome, also known as your gut ecosystem, can change everything you thought you knew about nutrition, digestion, immunity, and metabolism. Keeping your gut ecosystem healthy and balanced is essential. Ultimate Microbiome by Longevity was specifically formulated to optimize this ecosystem. It provides the advanced support your gut needs through prebiotic, probiotic, and postbiotic supplementation. Our unique blend of probiotics includes Lactobacillus and Plantarum, healthy bacteria that can help prevent harmful bacteria from taking over your gut. Increasing your gut's population of beneficial bacteria creates a more balanced gut microbiome, which has been shown to aid in weight loss, skin health, sleep, mood, and may even help with seasonal allergies. Ultimate Microbiome also promotes the production of postbiotics. Postbiotics are key to help regulate your gastrointestinal health. To enhance digestion, Digizyme Multi-Enzyme Complex, a blend of 5 specific enzymes, has been added to Ultimate Microbiome. It can help break down food so your body can better absorb nutrients. Plus, we've added our proprietary I-26 Hyperimmune Egg Powder to aid in the elimination of disease-causing gut bacteria and help your body balance its immune response. Ultimate Microbiome, the scientific, proprietary, and holistic approach to gut health that helps optimize your body's entire gut ecosystem. To learn more, contact your Longevity associate.
For all your building needs, it's Carib Construction and Project Management on Gladstone Road. We build it all: schools, homes, hotels, and more, including structures requiring a Phase 3 electrical contractor. We also provide project management services. The first step towards your dream building begins at Carib Construction and Project Management. Call us at 376-1556 or 341-4466.
One of the things I love about the mailboat is their relationship with Bahamas Air. I can earn travel points on my international freight and redeem them when I fly.
For me, online shopping is easy, with Mailboat's U.S. addresses and regular freight delivery to Nassau. Plus, I can always prepay customs and freight, and they always notify me when my package arrives.
Yeah, a lot of people think the Mailboat is just for shipping, but they also offer a safe and secure storage facility at affordable rates, all in a central, convenient location.
We also offer passenger service into Freeport multiple times per week with a seating capacity of over 450 persons. With family movies on large screens, one hot meal included, and on-board lounge for snacks and soft drinks. We're the Mailboat. We're bridging people, products, and places.
Executive Printers is your one-stop shop for all your branding and customization needs. Letterheads, envelopes, business cards, invoices, share and gift certificates, rubber stamps, vouchers, funeral programs, brochures, flyers, banners, and promotional items like mugs, water bottles, mouse pads, and key rings, all with personable service and great quality. No project is too small or too large. For great turnaround and competitive pricing, make an executive decision. Call us at 393-5011.
Welcome back to GPS, Global Paradigm Shift on Global 99.5 FM. Michelle Malcolm here with my guest, C. Alan Johnson. The show today is Lifeline or Life Support, whether it relates to bread and butter industries like tourism or financial services. Last segment, we were talking about Grand Bahama and the role that it should be playing in terms of our economy and making sure that we are keeping up with the rest of the world. This is what we're talking about today. And before I dive into...
Before you dive, let me do a 15 minutes pitch. I got a lot of people saying they're enjoying the conversation from Grand Bahama. So I want to pitch to you businesses on Grand Bahama that would like to hear the step-by-step on how the economy go. The Michelle number, he'll scream it out, is there. My number is 825-9700. We can make this a regular staple, but we need your support. Absolutely. You're enjoying the conversation. This is not enough time, so we could break it down into segments, tell you exactly how to do it and where to do it. And if you know a business person, just call them up and say, look, no matter how small your art is, just please make sure we can hear from C. Allen and C and others who on Grand Bahama may know the way, so we can have that conversation. Let's go.
All right, cool. All right, so I want to read a couple of comments from WhatsApp line, and then we're going to talk more about tokenization. So one person said, greed is the problem. Reading again from our WhatsApp line. Someone else said, C. Allen, why don't you put your hat in the race to run the country, since you get the answer for all our problems, because the F&M and PLP can't do it for you. Put your hat in the race. I'll vote for you. I live in Freeport. You got at least one vote, C. Allen. I know.
Yeah, but what happened is, remember, the problem is we work on majority rule. We work on majority rule, and so we're going to need more than just me one, because I can go there with all the brilliant ideas, or 10 of us. But if 30 of them say we can with our silly way, guess what? Nothing changes. So this is why you have to change the mindset of government before they get there. Make sure they don't bring you their platform, that they carry yours.
Absolutely. All right. So key to this question about whether or not we find ourselves with lifelines or are they on life support is digital technology, because that is the way of the world nowadays. There's no way around it. You can't decide that you are going to ignore what is happening in the rest of the world and just, stand on your own and continue to do things the way you've always done, because then you're going to find yourself not just being lapped, but out of the race altogether. And so you heard C. Allen mention this a couple of times throughout the show, tokenization. And for those of you who are not familiar with tokenization, I'm going to play a short clip that is going to, in a nutshell, explain to you what tokenization is and how it works. And then I'll let C. Allen go into bringing that home and how we in the Bahamas could and should be embracing tokenization to empower more Bahamians to take advantage of a healthier, bigger, juicier economic pie. Check this out.
What is tokenization? Tokenization is the conversion of ownership or rights of specific assets into digital form. Tokenization allows you to convert indivisible assets into token formats. Let's say you want to sell the famous painting Mona Lisa. To do so, you need to find sellers who want to pay millions of dollars and buy it. Obviously, this will reduce the number of people who have fluid funds to buy it. However, if you tokenize a painting, you can share ownership of the painting with multiple people. Specifically, it is possible to own a fraction. For example, someone can become the owner of 5% of a painting or an asset. This is only possible through tokenization. This appears to provide a better solution than traditional methods. Therefore, most cryptocurrency experts will be betting on its use and the future prospects. Tokenization in blockchain opens up multiple new possibilities for companies and individuals. Yet the concept is not new and has been around for decades. Even before the introduction of blockchain technology, Financial institutions, especially since the 1960s, had been using tokenization to protect credit card and transaction details. Hospitals also use it to store sensitive information about patients, and the government uses it to record voter registration. Conventional tokens store information as alphanumeric tokens and pass the encryption function later. This process ensures that each token is unique. Tokenization using blockchain is quite similar to this process. Tokenization and blockchain. While the use of tokenization has traditionally been useful for payment and security of personal financial information, blockchain technology has allowed us to find a completely new direction. The emergence of blockchain-based tokenization is one of the reasons to prove that the future will be tokenized. Blockchain-related tokenization refers to a secure process of transferring ownership of real-world assets and financial assets to digital assets. It is important to note that the blockchain network ensures that each transaction is encrypted in a block of information, along with the traceability of the transaction. As a result, blockchain-based tokenization offers a transparent, secure, and highly progressive approach to evaluating and managing any asset of value. Blockchain helps secure and efficient tokenization of various assets and businesses in the real world. Interestingly, the logic of this process provides an ideal justification for tokenization with many unique advantages and use cases in various industries. How does blockchain tokenization work? Tokenization is the process of converting something into a digital asset or token. In the context of blockchain, tokenization refers to the creation of digital tokens that represent a real-world asset on a blockchain platform. Tokenization can be used to create tokens that represent virtually any type of asset, including commodities, loyalty points, shares in a company, music or art, precious metals, credit, debit cards, or even real estate. The process of tokenization usually involves creating a smart contract on a blockchain platform that defines the rules and conditions of the token. Once an asset has been tokenized, it can be traded on an exchange or used in other applications built on decentralized blockchain platforms. Tokenization can help to make assets more liquid and accessible to a wider range of people.
Yep, that's the future of the Bahamas. Michelle.
Why you go goo goo gaga and start freaking out? We got to address the elephant in the room. Because people hearing this right now, and the first thing their mind going to is that curly hair boy who in jail in the States now.
And that's the first thing I explain.
FTX and that whole debacle.
Right.
So, explain this like a 6-year-old to understand what is the difference between why he locked up now and what that video was just talking about, and how can it benefit Bahamians across the board?
First of all, tokens are not coins and coins are not tokens. Coins is an absolute, basically the basis of the bottom of the platform, and tokens can be built upon the blockchain that coins are made on. For individuals who are in the cryptocurrency industry, there's only one cryptocurrency in the world today. That's called Bitcoin. There is no other centralized. There's 12,980 the last time I checked, different virtual cryptocurrency in the world that are all fake. They're not decentralized. They're controlled by a small group of individuals. They can issue as many of them they want. They can pull the rug from underneath you and all of these different things. It's all fake. It's greater fool theory. Tokenization, however, is backed by real world assets. This isn't where somebody's selling you a marble and you got to find a greater sucker or greater fool than you to buy it from you. It has no value, no application, no anything is of that sort. Bitcoin may have a value in the future. Anything else beside Bitcoin is fake. Now, here's what tokens does. You want to build a bed and breakfast in Freeport. Let's say you want a top-of-the-line bed and breakfast for $250,000. There's a number of ways you can do this. The most direct way would be to take the $250,000 and divide by 5,000 individuals. What is that? 50 people who would each give you $50,000. I mean, $5,000. So those 50 people that give you $5,000 are now co-owners with you. Okay, you could decide what percentage you want to give them for that 5,000. Right? Let's say you're going to issue a certain amount of tokens, but you want to keep 40% of them. So you'll divide that investment because you have the intellectual capital and marketing of it. They will give you this whole token, this money. So you will hold a certain amount of tokens to represent your 40%, and the $250,000 will represent the 60%. There's an equal amount of tokens. These are not figures exact because I'm going along. Let's say you have now issued 200 tokens. You own 120 of them. You've given out 80 for these money. Essentially, they now own that percentage of your business. It's in a digital wallet operated by a smart contract. No lawyers needed, no real estate agent, none of those things. So no commission is paid, anything. So in essence, when I own one of your shares or one of your tokens that represent whatever amount of tokens represent my share, and I want to sell it to you, Michelle, all I have to do is you give me the money and I transfer that to your wallet, and you 100% own that. But let's use an example. Because you can now find individuals who can now go into the marketplace and find their funding. Creating one of these smart contracts that involves tokenization costs less than maybe $3,000. So now you've entered the marketplace that you own a property with no mortgage payment, because you have $250,000 to build this singular bed and breakfast, this one bedroom apartment. It costs less than $100,000 to build that. I'm using the $250,000 model because you want to build an energy efficient, so you don't have no light bill. You want to build a top class 5-star place, because you want to be able to book your place for the quality and the lower price you can have. This is only one variation. There's something called offsetting. Offsetting is where I can sell literally, I can find 50 individuals who's willing to use my place over the next, say, 10 years or 12 years, who are willing to give me $5,000. I give them a certain amount of weeks that they can use. And now I owe them nothing. I own 100% of the place except for these number of weeks, what I call offsets or tokens you've issued. When they bring you back the token to use your place, the tokens goes into your wallet. Now you own that share that you had sold in advance. That's offsetting. It's called a backstop, meaning that the property is put into a special environment. So the property, you can't sell it until you satisfy the tokens that you have sold on it for its use. It's called a utility token, a use token. So now think. You have individuals that now want to open up restaurants and want to do boating and want to do all these different things in the tourism market. We can tokenize the tourism market from a national standpoint and give access to the billions of dollars that's in. We have individuals that want to buy homes, want all of these different things for homes that we have to go to conventional real estate. Conventional real estate is out the door, because you can tokenize a piece of property and combine a property even with a bed and breakfast, that the bed and breakfast pays for the property. There is no limit to digitization of the financial services for behemoths. On Grand Bahama, we need 10,000 hotels just to break even, and we need restaurants and all these things to support. All we need is a tourism strategy for Grand Bahama, and we could take care of it. You know, all those people who work in government who's making $20,000, $30,000 a year, you could quit with one bed and breakfast and make $50,000 a year. Quit. So you will have a problem finding people to go in. You know, people say, government, give me a job. If we need 20,000 bed and breakfast on Grand Bahama to reach critical mass, forget all the other items. We can bring them in later. That means if we give every person 2 bed and breakfast, we need 10,000 families to move to Grand Bahama to manage just the short-term rental aspect of Grand Bahama. Forget the restaurants and the car rentals and all these other things to support services that we need, even for maid service and everything else. If we, and I'm saying the sponsors call the show, if we were to have the conversation, we could revolutionize Grand Bahama in a matter of 2-3 years. The government of the Bahamas every single month is spending the equivalent of 20 bed and breakfasts every single month to keep that hotel open. You could build 20 bed and breakfast for what we're spending. So we have 1,271 rooms, and we already paid for 2,500 rooms based on what we already. We could have given away 2,500 bed and breakfast to Bahamians for what we have spent on that hotel trying to save 1,200 rooms, 2,500 functioning boutique hotels and rooms. We have the ability, and this is only a small aspect of digitization of the economy I'm speaking of. We could transform this country. The Grand Report, this is why you need leadership that actually understand what it is you have to propose to the government and push them and educate the people as to their involvement. So when you start talking about these foreigners taking your door for construction, if I'm building my place and I'm Bahamian centric and Bahamian focused, you can't force me to hire a foreigner to give me shoddy work from people who come into the country who have never had any experience in this field, but I'm simply looking for cheap labor. So now you can import the professionals you need. You know why? Because Bahamians ain't need to do construction work because they all own the construction job. See, so they could come in for a little while, do our finishing work on the bed and breakfast and everything else and go. We're going to need, if you have 10,000, 20,000 bedrooms, you need beds, you need tables, you need all these different things that can actually begin to become localized in its manufacture and distribution in cooperation with people who are already doing it around the world. We could then now, guess what we could do? We could tokenize bed and breakfast and go invade some other countries in the South the way their people invade our country and own our economy. If we consider digitization, tokenization, and other aspects of this economy, we would then get the leadership we deserve. But we need to now decide what we want and stop listening to the noise in the marketplace about MPs and other people just giving you sound bites and challenge what they say. And you know what? And I want you to think. I want people like Chester Cooper, Halkitis, Ryan Pinder, Brave Davis, and all those consultants in the office to issue them. You know, they do these voicemails, and Mr. Fred Mitchell, these voicemails they send around for these little petty things. I am saying something that you guys seem like don't know what you're doing. Release a voicemail saying you do. Call me out on this. And I'm saying to you, and we need sponsors to do this. And I'm appealing for sponsors, whether it's me individually or Michelle as a show. We need sponsors because we need the time to take piece by piece so they can put together the puzzle and bring this together to the people so they can demand more. And we have the best opportunity now, rather than, you say the people are lapping us. We now have this brand new speedboat, and we can put 5 or 6 or 8 1,000 horsepower engine on it, and we're ready to go. But we need sponsorship, please. This time is running out of me. There's so much more to say. What I'm saying is just tune in. We're going to have this conversation again. Sponsor. For you guys, listen, call your workplace, everything else, and say, I know I wasted an hour, but it was worth the time. Please, can you please take an hour or something, or even private donations? And so, but Michelle, I thank you so much for this opportunity to speak. Bahamas, Grand Bahama is the answer to the Bahamas, and so is Freeport. We must get the Grand Bahama Port Authority, get the government and the licensees in the same page. But guess what? We as citizens must be in the room because government is acting on our behalf. And governance without consent of the government is slavery, and we are no longer slaves. So I'm saying we need a public conversation with us, the people, between government, the Port Authority, and the licensees. The government is only the mediator, supposed to represent fairness among the three of us. And then do what we say, not what you feel like.
All right. Well, for those of you who are, I see a couple of comments. For those of you who are saying that Seattle talking foolishness and it can't happen, consider Airbnb, consider Uber, which changed the game. The largest provider of hotel rooms is no longer the big chain hotel names, but now a little idea called Airbnb is providing more homes away from home, vacation rentals, than any other large hotel chain in the world. Consider that. Time is gone. It's 4:00. Seattle and I want to say thank you so much for helping us to break this down. I hope people got a gist of what we're trying to say on the show today. I always encourage you guys to think beyond what you see, look beyond the surface, because there's always something deeper. If you're willing to have a paradigm shift, and hopefully GPS will help to guide you there. Until next time, I am Michelle Malcolm. Thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate each and every one of you who did, and I'll see you all right here tomorrow. Don't slunk. Show up for Wellness Wednesday so you can learn how to take better care of yourselves. Until then, thanks so much for watching. Have a good afternoon, everybody, and take care.
Global 99.5 FM reminds our listeners that the views and opinions expressed on this show are those of the host and guests.
The demand for a new kind
Source for R&B in the Bahamas. Yeah.